Welcome to the Small Business Sisterhood podcast. I'm your host, Pepper Makepeace, an online business strategist for female solopreneurs and side hustlers, and the founder of the Small Business Sisterhood, an online membership community serving small business owners in the first stages of business. Join me as I go behind the scenes with female entrepreneurs, revealing the struggles, strategies, and inspiring stories of these amazing women. If you're interested in connecting with like-minded women in a supportive online community that helps you stay focused, motivated, and accountable as you build your business, check us out at smallbusinesssisterhood.com. Today we're talking to Tessy Nkechi Egonu. Tessy is the founder of Queentrepreneur Women's Foundation, a nonprofit organization serving women and girls in underserved communities of Nigeria and throughout Africa. Through training programs, exposure, and mentorship, Queentrepreneur Women's Foundation empowers women to become socially conscious global leaders. They also provide free legal assistance to female victims of domestic violence and human rights abuse, and engage in human rights education and grassroots popularization of rights. Their vision is to develop more confident women to be equipped and passionate about leading organizations, businesses, schools, and agencies domestically to contribute to a society where women leaders are no longer viewed as the exception to the rule, but as relevant assets and necessary additions to organizations nationwide. Thank you, Tessy, so much for being on the podcast. I am so excited to learn more about you and your NGO, and I appreciate your time. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Pepper. I appreciate being here.
So tell everybody a little bit more about you and your business.
Okay, so my name is Tessy, and I am actually a lawyer, called to about 2015, but I'm focused more on philanthropy and women's empowerment here in Nigeria. So yeah, I started the NGO 2019. And we're focused on empowering women in Nigeria and Africa. But the main focus now is Nigeria. And the empowerment first focuses on women who have been, women in areas that, internally displaced women. Those are people in areas of war and violence. For example, in the northern part of Nigeria, we have women who have lost their husbands and their source of income and livelihood, and they're in IDP camps, and so we're focused on empowering such women, and then also kids, young girls in underserved communities. So basically, the NGO is basically about empowering women who do not have any source of income, who do not have any husband, widows too. Yeah, basically that's what it's about.
That's amazing. Such beautiful, powerful work. Can you tell me more what made you decide to start this business, to start your NGO?
Okay, growing up, I kind of, my mom more was my inspiration because we are 8 kids. And at a point, my dad wasn't always around. And she didn't have the basic education, but she tried to struggle to take care of us during her time. And so she started a poultry farm. And I grew up to see her grow from a small poultry farmer to a very big poultry farmer and a woman of her own. And she had more confidence in herself. And I always assumed, I've always felt that women who didn't have anything for themselves were disadvantaged because she didn't have anything going on for herself when my dad wasn't around. And it was really tough for us. So I felt that if I grow up, I want to empower women to know that they need to actually realize their potential as a person and stop relying on men or the society or anything. They just have to rely on themselves and true empowerment, because she had a friend in the UK who helped her raise funds to start her business. So I felt without her, she wouldn't have gone far. So I want to be that person who helps other women realize their potentials.
Wow. That's awesome. Your mother sounds so amazing. I think that's such a wonderful story, and what a great role model to have.
Thank you.
So tell me more about how you help women and how you help young girls. What are the programs that you have, that you offer?
Okay, so last year we had a skill acquisition training for women and young girls. We trained them fashion designing, shoe and bag making, makeup, and skincare essentials. So we had these 4 categories, and then we trained women. And because of our outreach, because of our funding is it's not as much as we expected, we made sure that we took women who we could focus on, because till date we still follow up on these women. We don't just train them and then okay, goodbye. We follow up. We want to know what are you doing now, and how you start your business, and if you need funding or something. So that's what we do. So we last year we had a skill acquisition training for these women. We also had a networking program where we brought women to meet different, like women in the law, different professional women. So we had the law aspect, we had the stylist, we had people women in business, and then we just brought them together to meet young ladies and then empower them. Give a simple talk. So it was called Tea and Networking, our first networking program, and then we also had an outreach sanitary wear that was for young girls in secondary schools and underserved communities. We went there and helped them, distributed sanitary pads, and also educated them on the importance of self-awareness, self-confidence, and then the importance of understanding your body as a woman, because that's one of the major problems we have in these underserved communities here in Nigeria. The young girls don't really understand the importance of their bodies and the idea of saying no and yes to romance. So we had to teach them, and basically that's some of the programs we've done so far.
That's wonderful. There's so many aspects to it that are so powerful. It's really encouraging that there are people like you out there doing such amazing work.
Thank you.
Are you doing this full time? Are you still practicing law, or how does that work?
Okay, so yeah, well, I'm kind of like a serial entrepreneur. So I have a fashion house.
Oh wow.
And then I have a consulting agency where I practice the law.
Okay.
And also do help startups, register their businesses and, develop business plans, concept note and proposals. So yeah, but the philanthropy part, the NGO is my main focus now. The other ones are just like what I use to sponsor the NGO to push it forward.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you really have a lot of experience with the work that you're doing as a volunteer now. You have been doing for quite some time, it sounds like. What a beautiful way to kind of use your skills and talents and understanding of your community and also business and sharing that with these women and young girls. That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Do you have kind of an example of one of the women or the girls that you've helped and kind of their story of how they've kind of changed through the help of your organization?
Yes, I have. Well, yeah, I do have a few, but I'll talk about one called Deborah. She took one of our skill acquisition courses, fashion designing, and when she learned how to do her fashion designing, and she started making dresses herself for people. Her dad called me, and he was so excited. He was happy because during the last year Christmas, she used that to raise funds for her family. And she made a lot of dresses for people during the Christmas period. And she usually comes to my own shop where I sew to make her dresses, because I trained her and I know that she needs like a ground to start. So I know her process, and I keep in touch with her. Whenever she needs to make any dress, she comes over to me. And speaking to her dad, and he talking about the fact that he really did appreciate what I did for his daughter, because she's been waiting for admission in university. She hasn't gotten admission yet, and she was doing nothing at home, and so he was so excited. And so far, she's really doing good. She's about to start her business and her own personal fashion house. And that to me is something, even if it's just one or two or three women out there, out of 1,000 who can actually establish something for themselves from the NGO, is really a big deal to me. So yeah, Deborah is one as a person who I know I've reached out to and I keep in touch with till date.
That's wonderful. Yeah, it's so empowering to be able to provide for yourself. I think that it's just such an important skill for anyone, anywhere, but especially it sounds like in the communities that you serve, it can have such a huge impact in their life for long term. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Tell me more about the program you have for the young girls. Like, how do you work with them, and what are you working on with that?
Okay, right now we have a lot of programs on ground. The NGO is basically, we have members who signed up to be part of the NGO, and the NGO is like an umbrella for women who believe in women empowerment. Apart from right now we have a project for women in prisons in correction centers.
Okay.
It's handled by a different team member, but that's her project under Queentrepreneur.
I see.
And it's to reach out to these women in correctional facilities, help them with the basic necessities they need, trainings, and then also we're also going to help them with, COVID-19. It's been tough on everyone, and these are things that might be hard for them to provide. So we're going to provide the face masks and the hand sanitizers and all that for these women in prisons. And then we have another project, the Sandra Outreach Project. It's basically empowering 50 women. We're going to fund the project. We're going to train them, then also fund their business. We're going to make them, through the funding program, they're going to go through a training, and then the women who are able to come up with a good business plan will be funded. And that's a separate project. But right now, the main project we're working on is the Mentor for All initiative, and it's focused on young kids in underserved communities, especially young girls. Mm-hmm. So basically, this initiative it's about young girls being mentored by women all over the world, any part of the world. You can just sign up, and then we create a virtual platform. We create classes and sessions, and in groups. We put them in groups and ages. So if you're someone who wants to mentor these kids, you sign up on our platform. We have a process of screening people, and then we have an interview with you, a meeting with you, and then once we know that you're good enough to mentor them, we'll set up a session for you, and you tell us the area in which you want to mentor these kids. We have different areas. We have self-awareness, self-confidence. We have career choices. We also have like book clubs where you can decide to, because there are kids who have interest in creativity, reading, and book and stories. So we have book clubs, so you can decide, okay, this is the book I want to read with these kids, and then we give you that session. And part of the reason why this Mentor for All initiative was really focused on being launched now is because in the rural areas, education had stopped, and these people were back home without any form of activity education-wise. While in the urban areas, these kids, they are kids who still have virtual sessions and education classes. So it's like there's a very huge gap, and we're trying to bridge that gap. So while other people are still attending school through virtual platforms, we will go to the rural areas and link them to the virtual platform so that while they are home waiting for this COVID-19 pandemic to be over, we can use this opportunity to mentor them, talk to them about career decisions. And apart from school, most schools in the urban area have extracurriculum activities, but they don't have over there because they can't afford it. So the Mentor for All initiative is part of a way to, initiate an extracurriculum activity for them. So after their basic education school hours, we mentor them. We're going to have all types of mentorship and trainings. We're going to have singing. If the kids are interested in singing, you can have their sessions with the mentor who's going to teach them how to work on their vocals and how to, songs and all that. And then we're going to have we have just as much as possible. There's so many areas in which this can help these kids, and that's what we're focusing on right now.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I've never really thought about extracurricular activities being, really lacking in certain types of communities, and that really makes sense in a lot of different areas. And it's such a blessing that you and your volunteers have been able to provide that for them. I'm sure the girls, how do they respond to having access to this new information and these new opportunities?
Okay, so we had our first session like 2 Saturdays back, I think, and we had the mentors come online and talk to them. And first of all, these kids were a bit shy because they don't really have so much exposure with a lot of people. Just basically them and the community. So having to take them past the basic exposure they expect, like, okay, I go to town, I go to the main area. They get to meet people in different places, different cultures, different ethnic groups, and you're relating with them, and they feel there's this certain confidence they had. And after the sessions, I had one-on-one discussion with some of the girls and the kids who we mentored, and they kept saying that they want to do the mentorship again, that there are things they weren't able to say before because it was the first session. Oh, sure. So it's like it was breaking that barrier they had. It's like they realized that they could they had the opportunity to reach out to people and be themselves. And so I feel like if this was, even the parents, we had one-on-one discussions with the parents, and they were so excited about the program. And this is an opportunity for the kids to realize that there's more to just this small world they live in. There are people out there who believe in them. There are people out there who want to see them grow. There are people out there who they can relate with. There are people out there who tell them that, oh, see, I'm doing it as a person. I'm here, and you can be here too. You just have to believe in yourself and focus on your education or whatever it is that you want to do. And the Mentor for All initiative is also going to create a platform where these mentors are going to try and help us identify kids with unique abilities, like creativity, innovations. We spoke to some kids within the age of 9 to 11, and some of them were already interested in information technology and saying the things they would like to talk about. And these are just people. So if we give the opportunity we're giving them, and when they don't have these opportunities, dreams die, and they're done with school and just go do something. But with this mentorship program, and then giving them a chance to talk to people in the same field as their aspirations and what they plan to be in, it makes them have this hope. It keeps the hope alive and keeps it burning, because they know there's someone out there who believes in them and who is putting them through a career path, or when it comes to making decisions on what they want to be, who they want to become in future. So yeah, it was, the girls were really excited about it. They kept insisting they wanted more sessions, but we are lacking a lot of mentors right now. So obviously we have to still work with the time and the availability of the mentors we have before we can create more sessions.
Sure. Yeah, it's such you're expanding these girls' world and giving them opportunities they wouldn't otherwise have for their futures. And there's so much power in that, and it's so beautiful. So have you struggled? Tell me about kind of starting the NGO. And I know there's people I've met over the years that they have these ideas for ways to help underserved communities or help their communities. And the idea, even for me, of starting an NGO is a little daunting. And I'd love to hear kind of your process of, how did you get started, and what was difficult and what was maybe not as difficult as you thought it would be. Like, tell me a little bit about your experience with that.
Okay, so the first time I had the idea was 2017. It came to my head, and the idea of starting was just so taxing. Like, you have to register the NGO, the whole process. It was a bit discouraging in the beginning. But 2019, I realized that if I was waiting for everything to fall into place before I started this, time was passing. The people who I would have reached out to would have moved on with their lives, and the opportunities they would have gotten from the NGO would have just been nothing. So I felt, okay, let me just start it with whatever I had. So I had a friend of mine who decided to partner with me because she had the same idea. So I just told her, oh, this is what I was thinking. She was like, oh, wow, let's do this together. And we started with basically less than, if we were to talk about in dollar, $200. That's basically what we started with.
Wow.
We tried to register the NGO. We were just doing everything a step at a time. It was very difficult. And then by the time we registered it, we were 2. Next thing we were 4. And from being 4, we became 6, 10. And then we had people who just decided to buy it, who bought the idea and loved the idea, the initiative, the whole concept. And then we start having people signing up, and every month they contribute and help us to build our ideas and handle programs. And that's how we started. I think the basic difficulty about the NGO is the fact that over here, the barriers we face as women, first of all, is really hard. Yeah. Sometimes we have opportunities we want to grab on, and the people we meet want to take advantage of the fact, oh, these are young girls, small girls in the statement. So it's been tough trying to have this, how do I explain it? Trying to have this, I don't know the word to use, but it's been tough for us to create this. We want to do much more than what we are doing now. But when it comes to meeting people who could help us achieve these goals, they look at us as young people, small girls. We had a program recently during the networking, and we sent out invites to women who could come and support it. And they just assumed that we're too young, we're too small, and we had really nothing to offer. And they didn't show up. So we just worked with the people that could come at that moment. And we had, obviously, we had people who eventually There are women who genuinely don't really care about your age or they will come and be there to support you. So yes, it's really tough, especially as women,
Yeah.
reaching out to men to support it. They want to take advantage. So we've been doing it ourselves. And then that's part of the reason why we're really fighting hard for this empowerment. Apart from the fact that we try to empower women, we also take up, because 90% of the membership for Queentrepreneur are all lawyers. So we do take up pro bono cases for women, human rights cases, especially when it has to do with violence and rape. So yeah, because we know what we experience these things on a daily, and we see how tough it is for a woman to achieve so much here. So yeah, it's been a very difficult one, but it's getting easier every step of the way. It gets easier and better. So
yeah, it's encouraging that. I mean, how did you keep going when it got so hard, or when things felt like they weren't going to work, or like how did you keep the momentum going and just keep going?
okay, there are times I genuinely told myself that was the point. I should just end, like quit. Basically, why was I doing the NGO when I didn't have people supporting me that much? But if you look around and you see that you had like 5 women who looked up to the idea of the NGO, or even just one person,
Right.
and you thought about, okay, so if I quit, I was going to disappoint this person who has invested so much in this NGO. So it just kept me going,
Yeah.
because I knew I was not alone. So it's the more we grew, the easier it was for me to hold on. So anytime I wanted to quit, now we're 22 members, still growing. But imagine if I want to quit now, I look back at the 22 women who look up to me and say, "Wow, we're in this together." And you're saying, "I'm not doing this anymore." That's going to discourage them from so much in life.
Right.
So yeah, it's been tough. There are times I would just decide that, okay. In fact, there are times that I just go quiet for a while, and I don't know what to do anymore, because I'm like stuck in limbo. I don't know where to go, A, B, I'm just there.
Yeah.
And then I just think about these women. I'm like, you know what? Let's just, whatever it is we can do, let's do it. We can't wait for everything to be perfect before it goes well. And whenever there's a stumbling block for me, when I want to do something, I always tell myself, persistence. I am very persistent. I can keep hitting on the same thing for as long as possible till I find a breakthrough. And that's how I've been able to move forward.
Wow. You are such an inspiration, and I'm so glad that you didn't give up. And
Yeah.
I think the work that you're doing is absolutely amazing, and the legal work as well, like, really understanding from your own experience and the other people that are working with you, the experiences you've had, and the blocks that you've come against, and helping others through those same things. Is that a healing process for you as well, as because you're kind of helping people with things that you've struggled with as well? Like,
Yes, it is a healing process for me. It's like, I think that's the word I've been looking for all these years. So I think, yes, it is, being there for other women, supporting them through anything, and helping them to achieve their goals, listening to them when they need the ears. It's been, when I sit down with a woman and we talk about our goals and our dreams, and I find a way I could help, and I go home, I sleep very well. I sleep well. I'm happy. I'm happy that there's a woman out there who I can reach out to, and she doesn't have to go through these things we're going through. And then also the Mentor for All initiative, bringing it back, is focusing on these young kids, trying to, everything is all about indoctrination. So we're trying to change the indoctrination that we had when we were growing up, that put us in the position we are now.
yeah.
And then as they grow up, they find out to have better opportunity. They find themselves having better opportunities, making better decisions, and it's like you're aware how life is going to be, because you have someone telling you this is it, and this is what you should be expecting. We grew up, the things we expected as adults and as women in Africa was totally different from what we imagined when we were kids.
Right.
We didn't have mentors, and there are a lot of areas where our parents want to talk about with us, it's quite delicate, or we shouldn't talk about this, you're still young. But I think if we had the opportunity growing up, it would have been easier for us to focus and make decisions that were better for us. So what is what we're doing for these young kids? Apart from the fact that we're mentoring these young girls to be empowered, we're also trying to teach the young men to allow women to be empowered. Because
Yeah.
patriarchy problem right now in Africa. We have men who don't want their wives working, or who can't stand the fact that their wives or their partners want to be somebody, they don't know how to handle it. So basically, we can't, of course, we can keep talking and talking and talking, but someone who has been indoctrinated to accept things as it is, it's harder to change it.
Yeah.
So it's easier to get to the smaller minds and start telling them that it's okay for a young lady to want to be more. It doesn't stop the fact that you can be a support system just the way she will be a support system to you. It's okay for you to accept the fact that a woman wants to do this, wants to achieve the same goals you want. It doesn't stop her from being a supportive partner. And so we're trying to teach these young men to start accepting these empowered women we're trying to create in society. So what we're doing is not for us anymore. We're doing it for the next generation, so that when our kids come and their kids come, it starts to change. And then what we're trying to achieve with equality and the empowerment happens eventually. It might not happen now, but it will definitely happen when we start talking to these young kids and teaching them how to accept empowerment and allow women to be who they really want to be. So yes, that's it. So yeah, it's like a healing process for me, because I feel like all the struggles we've passed as young kids, we don't want these young ones to pass through those struggles anymore. So we are trying our best to make sure that we stop the pain and we heal whatever it was that was there and start a new set of generation of people.
That's amazing. Yeah, there's so many aspects to women empowerment that
Yeah.
and you're covering all of it, and I not leaving anything out. And I love the idea of, really understanding how you grew up and how things would have been different if, you had what you're giving to kids now, and the ripple effect that can have, and not just the girls, but also the boys, and really, broadening minds and giving a different way to look at things. And the huge impact that can have for communities is just incredible. It's so powerful. I'm in awe of you. I think that you are amazing, and I'm so glad that you're doing the work that you're doing, and that you have the support of other women. And I'm sure that the more people that hear your message and hear your story, will be wanting to jump on board with that too. I think now is such an important time for a lot of important causes, and women's rights being a huge component of that. Thank you for doing the work that you're doing. I know it can't be easy.
Yeah, thank you for thanking me.
So what one or two pieces of advice would you give to women anywhere to keep going and following their dreams of, whether it's young girls or women trying to build businesses or NGOs, like what advice do you have for them?
Okay, the advice I always give women is, there's never a right time to start whatever idea you have. There's never a right time. There's always going to be something to stop you. So if you have an idea, even if you don't have everything in place, just keep going. Just start it. You'll be surprised the kind of luck you get from the universe when you just put in your mind and say, okay, I want to start this and I'm going to do this, even though I don't have all the funds. Things just work out eventually. The moment you start, it's like the universe realizes, oh, she's starting. We have to do everything within our power to make sure that whatever she's starting works out for her. So my advice to young women out there, or women anywhere, is whatever it is you want to do, just do it. There's never a right time. There's no perfect time to start anything. If it's to go to college or pursue that degree or start that business or register the NGO or create a group, that just whatever it is, there's no perfect time. You just have to just wake up in the morning and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm doing this, and you just start, and everything will work out perfectly for you. It's just always that way.
Wow.
It's like the universe is just testing you, like, let's just see if she's going to start. And then once you start, you're like, wow, okay, so she's starting, so let's help her.
Yeah.
So that's just, yeah.
That's great. That's great advice. And I completely agree with you. There really is never going to be a perfect time. It always feels like something's not quite right, or something's off, or it's, not yet, but it really, like you are such evidence of, if you just keep going, you know, more and more people have come to you to help you and support you and be with you in the process. And you're such a good role model for that process of just keep going and taking the steps, and it comes together. And I love it.
Thank you.
So tell everybody where they can find more information about your NGO and about you.
Okay. You can find more information about my NGO. Okay, I'm going to give the website. It's www.qwc.com.ng.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and I'll be sure to put that in the show notes so that people can go to that and find that information too. So
yes, and also I'd like to encourage more women, if they would like to sign up for the Mentor for All program. They could just go on the website and click on Mentor for All initiative and sign up to be a mentor. I really appreciate if there are women out there who do believe in this and would love to support the cause.
And remind everybody that it doesn't matter where they are, right? They can do it from anywhere.
Yeah. It doesn't matter where you are. It's a virtual platform. So if you've always had this idea of trying to help kids in Africa or Nigeria or anywhere as a whole, this is an opportunity for you to just wake up, open your laptop, and then we create a session for you to talk to these kids. Also, if you want to partner, if you have NGOs that would like to partner with us or sponsor or anything, this is an opportunity. So we have NGOs. The more NGOs we have partnering with us, the bigger we can spread to more kids in Africa.
Yes, definitely. And it's such a beautiful program. And I'm sure that a lot of women will be inspired by your message and will want to help. So it's such a great thing that you've offered this opportunity for them to be of use and to add value. I know there's a lot of women that want to help, but sometimes we don't always know how. And so this is just such a great way to volunteer time and energy and share our love. So thank you for creating that space for everyone.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for being on the podcast. It's been such a joy to learn about you and your experience with the NGO and the work that you're doing. It's so inspiring, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Pepper, for having me. I really do appreciate this. You're doing this small business group, and I truly do appreciate the fact that you have me on it. So thank you too.
Thank you, Tessy, for talking with us today. You can find out more information about Tessy and Queentrepreneur and the link to her website and the show notes for this episode at smallbusinesssisterhood.com/20. I hope you found this episode useful and inspiring. If you did, please pop over to iTunes and leave a review. Thanks for listening. Catch you next time.